On September 28, 1938, Babasaheb presented his arguments on Industrial Dispute Bill. During the discussion, Babasaheb highlighted the inhuman side of the bill, in which workers didn't have the liberty to strike for their demands, which could lead to perpetual slavery. After the implementation of the bill, the workers could not talk, neither deliver speech or organize among themselves to conduct strike. According to him, this bill should be called Workers' Civil Liberties Suspension Act.
Mr. Speaker, what we want is not equality, what we want is equity. What I want to urge before this House is this. Equality is not necessarily equity. In order that, to produce equity and to produce justice in society, different people have to be treated unequally. Why go far? Take the case of income tax. Why do we have progressive income tax? Why don't we tax all people alike? The reason why we tax the rich at a higher rate and the poor at a lower rate is because the taxable capacity of the two is different. In a case like that, equality would produce the greatest inequity. Take an ordinary case. Suppose, in a household, there are several persons, of whom one is sick. In order that the sick person may get out of sickness and in order that he may become better, we give chicken soup to him, but we do not give chicken soup to the others. No one would blame the mother of the household if she gave chicken soup to the sick member and denied it to the other adult members who are enjoying robust health. What we want is equity. This equity cannot be produced if we propose to treat the strong and the weak, the rich and the poor, the ignorant and the intelligent on the same footing. If my honorable friend wishes to treat the two classes equitably, then this bill will not suffice. What is happening today in this industry of ours? I am sorry, I have to make a plain breast of what I feel on this occasion. We have mills in Bombay city managed by Parsis, Gujrathis, Jews and by Europeans. I visited all these mills in my younger days when some members of my family were working there. I used to carry bread to them. The most surprising thing about all these mills is that they have been made the heaven for the cousins of the managers. Hundreds of useless people are employed in higher grades simply because they are related to the managing agents in some way. The best part of the earning of the workers are taken away by the managers in order to feed these people who are employed in the mills, whether they are efficient or not, or whether they are wanted or not. All these people who are controlling the industry float the capital and bloat it up by all sorts of paper transactions. When the worker says that he gets less wages, the man controlling the industry says, "It is my capital." All this is bogus capital, stock exchange capital, bolstered up by speculators. A good part of the earning of the industry is swallowed by these people. From the little balance that is left, the workers are asked to eke out their existence. If the Honorable Prime Minister wants to introduce equity, let him make the workers' wages the first charge on the profits of industry. I do not understand why the mill owners, or for the matter of that, any owner of any industry, should not be required by law to present his budget annually. Government is required to present its budget every year. Annually we get a budget of government, in which government say how many ministers are employed, how many chaprasi are allowed to the ministers, how many superintendents are there in departments, how many clerks, this, that and the other. This House is in a position to understand whether the establishment is excessive or not. This House gets to know whether the money is spent properly or not. Why is it that a mill owner, or for the matter of that, the owner of an industry, who gets his earning not entirely by his capital but also by the sweat of another man, be not compelled to give the details of his management? This is a very fair demand to make. The advantage would be this. Once a budget of that kind is presented by the owner of an industry, the workers would be in a position to realize and scrutinize whether the balance that is left to be divisible among the laborers is fair. or whether the employer has taken an undue portion of the total profit. What is the use of having a conciliation board and asking the employers to produce their account books, when the employer is not placed in a position to scrutinize what is really the state of affairs? If the procedure I suggest is adopted, I am sure about it that there will be less labor troubles, the conciliation would be more effective, and there will be more industrial peace. If the Prime Minister wants to treat labor and capital on a footing of equality in the sense in which I have suggested, namely, that there should be equity, then there is no basis for equity in the provisions of this bill. Secondly, there is no basis for equality between capital and labor, because the government in any dispute is always on the side of employers. This is clear from the use of the police government makes in strikes. The police force is maintained out of public fund, out of the taxes we all bear. It is intended for the benefit of all. Surely, no government is entitled to use this police force merely because a strike by the workers results in a breach of peace. Real equality between employers and employees can be brought about only by incorporating these two provisions. The employer must be compelled to disclose his budget, and the government must cease to use the police force against the workers merely because there is breach of peace. Without this, there can be no equality between capital and labor as to bargaining power. Will you do it? If you do this, you will lose case with the employers. If you don't, you cannot be the friend of labor. The bill as it is, I am sure about it, should not be passed. It only handicaps labor. Labor may not now know what this bill does. But when the bill comes into operation and the laborer stands face to face with the bill, he will say that this bill is bad, bloody and a brutal bill. Sir, I cannot be a party to it.